Hey, good evening, and welcome to episode 2 of Epic Wine Adventures. Tonight we're going to talk about decanting, and I am your host, Danielle. Before we get into the decanting portion of it, I kind of want to go through some wine etiquette things for what you want to do when you go and you start tasting wine. Things that you may not know or may not have thought about before. So, number 1, you're going to a wine tasting, let it be at a restaurant or it's a party or something like that. A couple things you don't want to do. You don't want to wear lotion. Because what's going to happen is you're going to swirl, you're going to sniff the wine, and you're going to smell the lotion on your hands. It's going to give you a totally different vibe of what's happening with that wine. No lotion. You don't want to have any candles burning. No matter what the scent is, I guarantee you it's probably not going to be the natural scent of your wine, and you want to get the full experience. No candles. Another thing, and it's going to be tough. No perfume. Perfume, again, is going to give you an essence or a smell that you're probably not going to be natural in any of the wines that you're going to find. No gum, no mints, and I know it's going to sound pretty bad, but you should not brush your teeth right before you go to a wine tasting. Only because, again, it's not going to give you that real feel or that taste of the wine that you want to experience. All right, so we got the etiquettes out of the way. Just a little information for everybody. Let's talk about decanting. So let's talk about why we want to decant a wine. There's really only 2 reasons you're going to want to decant a wine. One, if it's very old, let's say maybe over 15, 20 years, and there's some sediment in the wine, and you don't want to chew on it because the sediment can tend to be a little bit crunchy, and maybe not something that you really want to feel on your palate as you're trying to experience the wine. So what you'll do is you'll decant it. There's ways where you can just pour very slowly, and you make sure that you have a light here, and you can start to see when the sediment comes down the neck of the bottle. That's why the bottles are actually built like this, so that it kind of catches the sediment here. You slowly pour it out. As you see the sediment start to build up, you're going to go ahead and finish pouring it, and it'll be in your decanter. The second reason why you decant a wine is, I'm going to describe it as children. Young wines, something that's only a few years old and it's been bottled up. Think about your kids if you have any. 2, 3 years old. You've kept the kid in the house all day. It's nice out and they're going star crazy. That's the wine in the bottle. That's what's happening. It gets really stuck in there and they become really not oxidized. So the wine's just really crazy. It's stuck in the bottle and it just wants to burst. So if you don't decant this wine, what's going to happen is you're going to open it, you're going to go ahead and pour it, and you're going to taste it for the first time. And all the excitement that's happening in this bottle, just like the kids that are stuck in the house on a rainy day and all of a sudden and they want to go out, is going to happen in your glass. So what you want to do is you want to open that wine, pour it in a decanter, let it air out for a little while, let it relax. Let the wine relax, let your kids relax, let it get out, get some fresh air, calm down a little bit, and then you can go ahead and enjoy it when it's a little bit more relaxed. So that's why you want to go ahead and decant a new wine. You want to calm it down. What'll happen if you don't is you're going to actually taste all of the alcohol and probably taste like rubbing alcohol and all this real nasty taste that makes a lot of people think, well, I don't really like young wines. It's probably because you're not giving them a chance to express themselves fully. So let's go ahead and talk about decanters. We all know what this decanter is. This is your average decanter that you're probably going to see when you say, hey, I'm going to decant a wine. What you want to see in a decanter is normally a wide base, something that when the wine lays a little bit flat, you're going to get a lot of surface area to add oxygen to this wine so it can help open it up a little bit. This is great. It's wonderful. They can range from $20 to $300. It all depends on where you're going to get it and what you're looking for. Problem with this, very difficult to clean. You have this. I got this when I was in Venice this summer. Wonderful. Got it right from one of the glass blowing shops. Couple $100, and you know what? It's terrible to use because, again, it's very hard to clean. Beautifully put together, aesthetically, great talking piece when people come over, but in all honesty, a lot of people's hands can't fit in this little hole here, so again, very tough to clean. I'll probably never use it again. So when we talk about opening wines, all we're trying to do is open the wine. So here we go. Kool-Aid Man, wine, decanter. You can use this. I also have, if you're in a pinch and you don't have something, I have a wine decanting in a very nice Pampered Chef measuring cup, 8 cups. Put your wine in it, open it up, let it sit for a couple hours. You're pretty much going to get the same effect. Another thing that they have for decanting your wine or opening your wine up is if you don't have a decanter handy, let's say you're going to a restaurant or something like that, they have this. It's called the Rabbit. I know what you're thinking, but it's not. It's different. So, basically, you have your open bottle of wine. You put this right in there, and you go ahead and pour your wine out. What happens is there's a hole back here, if you can see the hole, which goes ahead and it aerates that wine as it's coming out. So if you don't have a lot of time to go ahead and decant your wine, let's say you're going to a restaurant, or your husband just came home and he said, hey, I got this great bottle of wine, let's open it up for dinner, and dinner's in 10 minutes, go ahead and get yourself an aerator. I think they're about $20, $30. I don't think they're really too expensive. So they are the things that you can go ahead and decant this. You know, the things you don't want to use are tin, plastic, anything that's going to interact with the wine, with the chemicals, with the things that are in it. So you don't want to get that container taste in your wine. So use things that are like plastic or glass, things that won't interact. And the aerator, it's perfectly fine. I've used it a couple of times. I'm like, I need a wine now because I have company that's just stopped by and we want to open up a nice bottle that they brought. So we go ahead and we use it. So we talked about the decanters, we talked about the aerator option. So let's talk about wines that you decant and why you should decant them and how long. Most red wines are going to need a decanting period. Depending on the wine is going to depend on how long you're going to want to try to decant it for. So, I mean, there's lists online with all types of suggestions of, 30 minutes, 3 hours, 4 hours, it all depends. If you really have a wine and you want to know, just look it up online. Again, like I said before, if the wine tastes good to you, it's not wrong. If you open up a bottle and you're like, it's red, but it tastes really good, then drink it. Just drink the wine. If you open it up and say, wow, I don't taste any fruit at all I really taste is like rubbing alcohol, or it smells like god-awful terrible, then you're going to want to decant the wine. But based off of what your initial taste is, let's just say it's like, I could use a little opening up. Taste the wine every half hour until it's somewhere where you say, you know what, I could taste the fruit, I can taste the floral notes, I could taste what this wine is supposed to be about. If you have it open for an hour and you're like, well, it still kind of tastes crabby, let it sit in the decanter a little bit longer. There's no right or wrong. There's nobody that's going to come and knock on your door after you've opened up your bottle and you've only let it decant for an hour and say, oh, you got to let it decant a little bit longer. This is a hearty wine. It's up to you. Your palate is going to be different according to your life experiences, the things you've tasted, and just basically what you like. So trust your judgment. You're your best character. Go ahead and drink whatever tastes good to you. So, can you ever decant something too long? Well, sure, of course. So, the signs of a wine that's been decanted for too long is it taste like vinegar? Does it smell like vinegar? I mean, basically what happened is you opened up the bottle, you left it sit out all night, and you never got a chance to drink it. Something happened, and you woke up the next morning, and you're like, oh my God, I left that wine in that decanter, and you smell it. It's probably going to be bad. It's going to be vinegary. You're probably going to have to trash it. So anything over 3 hours, even 18 hours, you're probably going to be fine. But just know that the longer that wine sits in that decanting state, it's going to continue to get oxygen and it's going to continue to oxidize, which is going to break it down, and it's going to stop the integrity of the wine, and you're going to get a lesser quality wine of probably what you're looking for. So with that being said, tonight what I've done is to discuss the decanting. I have 2 of the same exact wines. So this is a wine where when I was in Spain, I actually went to the winery, met the winemakers, and met the owner, and it was just a fantastic time. And they were the sweetest, most genuine people. Basically everybody in Spain was, but this place really stuck out. So I found this at the wine and spirit store tonight. $13.99 is the price point. So it's, again, we're sticking with the under $20 wines. It's the winery is Cune, and it is a Rioja wine from the region of Rioja in northern Spain. So it's a 2014, and it's a Crianza. The Crianza is not the grape. This is an 85% Tempranillo, 15% Grenache. If you don't know what a Tempranillo is has the characteristics and the structure of a Cabernet Sauvignon with the fruitiness of a Grenache. So if you like bold, but you're not ready to go bold all the way, this might actually be a really good wine for you to go ahead and try out, this Tempranillo. So again, it says the Crianza on it. All that means is that it was aged for 2 years before it was able to be sold. 1 year is an oak, the other year, or at least a couple months, is in the bottle that it was aged. That's all the Crianza means. So with this wine, this is a 2014. 2014 was a little bit of a cooler year in Rioja, cooler than some other years. So this grape actually took a little bit longer to mature, so it was harvested a little bit longer. With that, I have one that I've opened, and it's been decanting in this fine Kool-Aid pitcher for about 2 hours now. The other one, I haven't opened at all. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna taste the decanted wine versus the fresh out of the bottle wine. And we're gonna see if we have a difference, see if all this stuff and all the hype they talk about decanting is real. All right, so let me open this up. If you don't wanna use the foil cutter, peel it right off. So reds that you really want to decant for a little while are going to be, like I said, your stronger, more robust reds. Especially the new ones. They're the wild kids. They're the, you know, and I could say this because I have, you know, whatever. They're the kids that are on Ritalin. Like, no offense to anybody, but they're the kids that you're just like, we need to calm these kids down quick. So you want to go ahead and you want to throw them in the decanter and give them that extra time to breathe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to taste the one that has not been opened yet. Still going to open it up a little bit with some oxygen. I'm not going to do anything different than I would do any other day. Swirl it. Sniff it. Smell dark fruit. You know, you're going to hear me say that a lot when we're drinking red wines, but let's be honest, it's all made of dark fruit, pretty much like the grape, so it's not like I'm going to say I smell like a dirty shoe, or I smell, like I could smell crazy things, like I could smell burning rubber. It just doesn't happen to be in this one. But definitely dark fruit, cherries. Now this is just opened up, so I'm getting that burn in my nasal passage, the burn that tells me that I'm smelling the alcohol. The gases that are coming out, it's coming into my nasal passage. So let's go ahead and give it a taste. Tannins are good. See, I'm not getting a lot of the fruit that I would want from it. Not from what I know a Tempranillo should be. Have that nice cab. It is full. Bodied. Not as full as a cab, but I do feel the cab feel. I feel a lot of alcohol in it. Although it's not all alcohol. I'm not happy with it. This definitely needs to open up. Dark cherries, plums, lots of plums. Really ripe plums. A little smoky. It's a good wine, and you know that it's going to be good once it airs out a little bit. So I'm actually going to put that aside, and I'm going to go ahead and taste the one that's been decanted for a couple hours, and hopefully I get a little bit more of what I'm expecting to get from this wine. Again, even though it's been decanting, I'm going to give it, you know, the old habit, swirl it, sniff it, and sip it. There you go. A bouquet. I smell fruit that has been picked and ripe, and it's sitting on a dinner table. It's delicious. A little bit of vanilla. It's definitely opened up. This is a kid I could play with. Smooth, evenly balanced. The structure and the texture of it, and the acid is even balanced. The flavors are so vibrant after it's been opened up a little while. I really wish you were here so you could taste the difference in a wine that is fresh from the bottle versus decanted for 2 hours, because my God, is it a difference. This one, this is the kid you don't want to play with for a while because they're still bouncing off the walls. They don't make any sense. They're really not listening to you. It's like you're trying to get some answers from them, and they're just, this is a bad kid. This is the kid that's gone out, played, they're a little tired. They've calmed down, they're ready to sit down and have a talk with you. Definitely a lot of fresh fruit. It's definitely delicious. The tannins are light, but they're still aggressive. They let you know that they're there, but they're not taking over your mouth. Like the wine we had last week, those tannins took up residence and they sat for a while. This one's not doing the same thing, but it's letting you know it's there. It's like, hey, I'm a little dry, but when the tannins go away, it's so juicy. It's almost, when you chew juicy fruit gum and your mouth keeps watering. That's what's happening with this. My mouth is watering. Must be their way to get you to drink more wine. Little tannins, mouth water, drink more wine. That's really good when it opens up. So, I didn't use this, remember I said, because it's really hard to wash. So, I really like it. It's crisp, it's fresh, it's almost everything you would want out of a nice, fresh, light wine. If you could still, I think you could still eat this with drink this with a nice sturdy meat, like a steak or something, because the tannins are just enough to cut through the fat. But it's not something that's going to be so filling that you think that, I can't really drink this because their options are to eat or to drink. There are some wines that is your option because they're so hearty that you can't eat with them. They're just so filling. But this one definitely, black cherry, plum, a lot of fruit flavors bursting. But it's not sweet. So when I say fruit, don't automatically assume sweet like grape juice. Fruit as in like I just bit into a plum. That's the feeling I'm getting in my mouth with this particular wine. So, I said raisins. With it open, a little bit of raisins. Yeah, I like this one a lot. Again, bad kid, good kid. Go ahead and use your decanter because everybody wants a good kid, right? So, remember, red wines, go ahead and decant them. If you drink it and it tastes good from the start, then just drink it. There's no rule. But give your fresh, new, young red wines a chance to prove themselves to you, a chance to prove they can be good kids. If you drink it and you say you're a nasty little kid, put it in its timeout, let it get some rest, and then go ahead and try it a little bit later. I promise you won't regret it. It's like ordering a meal and you only take a bite of steak and you throw the rest away. Well, you wouldn't do that, right? Good. So, give your wine a chance. One of the other things I want to talk about before we say goodnight is how to store your wine. So let's say you put it in this fine decanter and you're like, well, I really don't want to drink it all, which I don't know why you wouldn't, but anyway, they're my issues, I guess. No, I'm joking. So you go ahead, take your bottle that you have, put a filter on it or one of those, now I can't figure out what the word is. The cone with the hole, you know what it is. All right, you would put it back in there. These things are fabulous. If you don't have one, go get them. You can get them like 5 for like $6 or something like that. They're at Target, they're everywhere. I don't particularly like using my cork. You can, but I don't like it because as you put the corkscrew in there, it creates a hole. And the hole isn't always guaranteed to close up. Like for me, it went off on the side a little bit, so now I have a hole in the side. Yeah, I could take this cork, re-cork my bottle, and go ahead and store it. Now I'm going to tell you how you would store it. Again, I don't like the cork. I prefer to use these. I feel like they work a little bit better. So where you're not going to store it is on your kitchen counter. Because what happens is you have too many temperature variants in your kitchen. You're cooking. The heat's probably on in your house this time of year. Wine always needs to be stored below room temperature, usually like at 63 degrees, and maybe some people's houses are 63 degrees, but I'm sure when you cook, your kitchen is not. So what you want to do is you want to put it in your refrigerator. I know you're like, red wine in the refrigerator, oh my God. Before you take it out, the next time you're going to drink it, which you should try to drink it between 5 and 7 days, take it out, let it warm back up to room temperature, and then go ahead and pour it. Now, after the next day that you put it in there, it is going to taste a little different. It's because the oxygen got to it and it started the oxygenation process and becoming oxidized. It will taste a little bit different, and that is normal, and that's okay. But try to drink it within 5 to 7 days. Okay? So I think that's all I have tonight. Next week, we're going to do a tour of Zinfandel. We're going to have 4 different Zinfandels, and we're going to taste the different ones and see how they are. I believe they're going to be all from the same region. I'm not sure. I'd have to recheck. But if you don't know what the Zinfandel grape is, I'm going to teach you a whole new world on another red wine. So, awesome. Have a good night and enjoy your wine.